Good Monday morning. It's Ice HTV, and wow, it's cold. Yeah, every time I walk out the door early morning now, it's got to be, I'd say, 40s, high 40s. That'd be my guess. Maybe 50, but it's a real cool, dry breeze. And if anybody follows my channel, if you ever really followed my channel and ever would click around all my videos and you actually looked at my driveway just here in the last year, if you looked around, you'd have to say, huh. Yeah, you'd have to be saying, huh, wow, that guy used to have a bunch of Ford trucks, but now yet he has a bunch of, looks like Ram trucks. And yeah, now he has a Maverick. Then you walk in the shop. I mean, so if you actually, and then things have disappeared. Where's the Toyota Avalon? Where's the yellow Bronco? Where is the silver Super Snake truck? Where's the Ford Mustang GT350? I mean, so if you ever just followed my channel and you really kind of started digging back on older videos, come on, Ginger, let's go, baby. Come on, let's go. Come on, office. Come on, you gotta go to work. Yeah, you gotta go to work. Come on. It's time to work, everybody. Yeah, and then even the trailers. I've changed out some trailers. Yeah, it just doesn't end. The adventures of Iceman. And yeah, did I get motivated to put exhaust on the truck yesterday? Nope. Did I get motivated to drive out yesterday morning? Yes. Wow. This thing's just so cool. I mean, it really is. This is just a badass car. I've always loved the Chargers. I mean, literally, I've always loved the Chargers. And interesting enough, I got rid of my Charger a few years ago, and I really wanted a wide body. I mean, I really wanted the wide body. You know, that's the dilemma for me in my life is I already had a Charger, had a white Charger, but due to economic circumstances to me, I had to move on. Same thing. I had a Challenger wide body, red color, and due to economic circumstances, I had to get rid of it. I had a GT500. Beyond believable, I bought this car back. Beyond believable, the car came back to dealership. I mean, for me, that's you have to scratch your head. I mean, it's number 712. Get your little tail out of the way there, boy. That's number 712 of the Mustang's chassis built 2020. So that's, at the end of the day, if they build 15,000 GT500s, I don't know what it is. Mine was number 712 of 15,000. So, yeah, wow. What do we talk about, right? Conversation this morning. I tell you what, I mean, I'm not embellishing here. The amount of information that's going on in this world right now, it's just infinite. Infinite. I mean, for me running a YouTube channel, you know, what do I talk about? You know, there's always something to talk about in all reality. So, I got paperwork here and this here. That ain't going to work. I have too much in my hand. Let's go check out the dogs. Gotta get upstairs. Monday morning. Gotta get my YouTube video done. And then I gotta go to work. Yeah, I do work, you know. People see me here and there in my videos, but I have to work and run a business and take care of a lot of things. So, not complaining. And got my heater. See, I put that hotel room. Believe it or not, I put that hotel. That's a hotel style heater air conditioner. And it's pretty cool. Taking good care of me. I go to the summer months though. Where's there? There's this heat. Okay. Warm up the office here. All right, so, you know, I've been thinking to myself, I mean, there's a lot of things. I don't have the time to talk. You don't have the time to watch it. There's too much information. Which that's the reality. But I got to thinking to myself yesterday, you know, what would I talk about Monday morning of any interest to people that follow my channel? And I got to thinking, wow, more than ever in our society, and something that I think is really interesting is when you step back, everything is car related. It's beyond believable where we are today about the car industry and the world. And I've always have said to people that we would be like a third world country if we didn't have cars. So I just got to think to myself, where are the fearless leaders of our country and the world right now? Where are they? And I'm sure some people could step back and or just say to me, well, wait a second, we've got leaders and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but where's the fearless leaders? And the reason I think of that is because more than ever, the agendas and the groups that band together to fight the leaders is bigger than ever. And what it is, it's the green agenda. The green agenda. I mean, just everybody step back for a second and let's just look around what's going on in our world more than ever. And let's just go back 100 years ago. I always like to talk to people about, think about, and this is what I think sad about society for us as human beings, because if you weren't really well known to be Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Muhammad Ali, the list can go on and on. I'm just using sports figures off the tip of my tongue. You're forgotten. You're forgotten. And I think to myself, 100 years ago, what was going on 100 years ago? I think it's so neat to think about that, because for me, I know that my mother's mother had just had her firstborn daughter, and she was a school teacher. But back then, a school teacher in the 1920s, it wasn't anything like a school teacher today, especially in rural areas. My mother was born into a 5-girl family with a father that never had any boys, that ran a cotton picking farm where my mother picked cotton. Yeah. So, and had no running water and no electric, and an outhouse was the bathroom, and you boiled the water with a fire. So, and they didn't have a car. They had a horse and buggy. And so what I think about that is how, 100 years ago, if you look at the economic times, and now we go 100 years later, and we all know about the horse and buggy, that, the horse and buggy then was kind of gone away to the car, transportation. And I think to myself, right now, today's society, the car, the passion for the cars, what has it done? Meaning, mankind went from riding horses and using, boats and using your legs to walk around, to we evolved to transportation that enabled you to go from point A to point B much quicker, and with you yourself less energy to accomplish that. I mean, riding a horse, until you ride a horse, you don't know what that takes to ride a horse. I mean, good Lord, I think about the founding fathers of this country that rode a horse. Oh my God, you don't get it till you ride a horse. So what I'm trying to resonate here this morning is, where's the fearless leaders of today's age, where more than ever we are now fighting the ice age versus the green age, and in which you want to stop and look around and say to yourself is, right now, things are getting very, very, very expensive, and it all revolves around what? It revolves around transportation. So for mankind, here we are 100 years later. I'm just using that scenario because I can think of my grandmother and grandfather and my dad's mother, and I'm just trying to kind of, because you think about 100 years ago, what the transportation was versus 100 years later, when the automobile was just getting going, if you know what I mean, and the planes were just getting going. The trains have been around for a while. So okay. So right now, if you look at the world, and you hear about Bank of England, BOE, Bank of England basically going broke this last week, and all the financial analysts are saying this is a huge warning signal of what is to come to this country, because when people start taking all the money out of their banks, the banks don't have any money. Yeah, nobody connects the dots. The bank uses your money to make, their business work. Like any business, you need money coming in Just like me, I need money coming into my business to be able to enjoy my passion of my cars and to be able to live, right? So what I'm really trying to explain more than ever is the ICE vehicle has created the green agenda. And yes, there's other aspects of mankind creating things that so-called are doing, harm to Mother Earth. But in the end, if you think about it, the Ice Age has created the Green Age that now more than ever, and I think it's really interesting because green usually, rate means money, okay? Hey, that guy's got a lot of green. That guy's got money. But here's a green agenda that is very expensive. More than ever in our lifetime, the green agenda is advancing and it's creating things to be extremely expensive. So when I say where's the fearless leaders, what I'm referencing is who's running the ship? Who's steering the course of our country and other countries that are allowing this green agenda to make everything so expensive. And that's what's happening. I mean, the irony to us is here I've got a YouTube channel called Ice Age. Well, that's the problem to the green agenda. The Ice Age is what's creating Mother Earth's, deterioration and shortened life or whatever. And I think that's what's so dangerous is people live in the future. Right now, more than ever, we're living in the future of what we think plays out. And by living in the future, if anybody here is of my age, younger people, I don't know if you can connect the dots on this, but how many people have witnessed friends that have made decisions for the future? And how does that play out? Usually it doesn't play out very well. I mean, sadly, just for me, myself, in my life, I have witnessed friends and family that think they know what the future is, and in the end, it's a disaster. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you planning for your future is a bad thing. That's not the message. The message is when we start living in the future of what you think's going to happen, you're probably wrong. And that's why I made that video, Pray for a Miracle. I think that if you watch that video, Pray for a Miracle, I explain that, of how we live in this physical universe and how people try to create things to you yourself think that you do this and do that creates this to create that, and that's how it all plays out in the end. And you're so wrong. It doesn't work that way. And that's why I like that video, and I believe in the prayer, the miracle prayer. It's called the miracle prayer, and I believe in that. And once again, if you go watch that video, I made that thing like a year and a half ago. You have to dig deep for that. I don't know if you can type in my YouTube channel that name, pray for a miracle or a power. I don't know. I don't even have to look it up myself. There's just so many videos. So for us, the fearless leaders, they're not around. We don't have any fearless leaders in my eyes because we don't have people opposing at great strength to overcome this green agenda that is living in the future. And more than ever, the media machine and the green agenda machine is convincing people they understand how things play out in the future, which we don't know that. But yet we will argue about that. And this even gets personal in relationships when you and your wife, or you and your girlfriend, boyfriend, your colleague, your brother, your sister, your dad, your mom, whatever it is, you'll be going to go do something or something will be going on between the two of you where you argue about how it plays out. Yeah, have you ever had these conversations? Yeah. And probably 9 times out of 10, both of you are wrong at the end of the day, but at some point it works out. So us humans, whatever it is, us humans are programmed to fix things. I mean, that's the biggest challenge in marriage. They call it Mr. Fix-It. That's the biggest challenge in marriage for a man is the wife comes home to a relationship and they've had a really bad day. And the first thing the man wants to do is start telling the wife what she should have done that day. Well, you've already failed. The wife didn't come home to have her be told what she should have done or shouldn't have done. The wife came home to express her unhappiness of the day, and as a man, you should be more like, well, that's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. And I'm telling you, for any men, guys watching my video, if you want to have a girlfriend or a wife around a long time, you need to get this message, like stamped on your forehead, and look at yourself in the mirror. When your spouse or your relationship with anybody starts harboring on their bad times, when you start telling them how to fix it and what they should have done, shouldn't have done, that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for compassion. They're looking for sympathy. But yet, here's mankind more than ever trying to tell you and I how to fix things. So, for me, I think it's really intriguing that if you stop and think about the world economic conditions of where we are today and the craziness that's going on in the markets between the oil, natural gas, materials, chip shortages, the list goes on and on and on, and everything revolves around ICE. Everything revolves around transportation. And we're now literally split. I think the minority's winning and the majority's losing. I don't believe the majority of people in the world are buying into all this, rapid, fast change, the green agenda. I think a lot of people are more on the page like, let's have options. Let's try to become a better, cleaner world. But to start putting all these mandates in X amount of time, I think it's really creating financial havoc, in which it is. The green agenda is creating financial havoc and financial hardships on mankind. Where's that conversation? So, for me, fearless leaders. Where are the leaders that start pulling up their britches and say no? Where does the big auto executives look at the board members and stockholders and say, no, we're not doing the rapid change out of what you're forcing down, what the green agenda is forcing down your throat? And it's always money driven. I mean, if anybody doesn't think the green agenda is not a money grab, I said that years ago. The average person watching my channel will be like, yeah, it is. And it's so funny. I say funny just in a reference, but it's so common. You get onto these auto websites. You even get into the Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, Reuters, Writers, whatever you want to call it. And the list goes on and on and on. And there'll be car conversations and about the green energy versus ICE. And then what comes out of that is, oh, you want to enrich the Saudi Arabia's people still? You still want to make the oil-rich nations rich by keeping cars around, blah, blah. It's like, oh, my God. We have more oil in this country than Saudi Arabia has, to my understanding, or I could be wrong, but we have plenty of oil to be self-sufficient. And you know what I've always have said too, though, which is never talked about, is, and I got to remember to tell the story about the donut thing, because a guy reached out to me yesterday, and he's probably, geez, man, I thought you were going to talk about the Dunkin' Donut thing, and I'll talk about that in a second. So let me finish up this. The Saudi Arabia, the oil, I've always have said, why don't we use up everybody else's oil so we're the last one having the oil? Hello? I mean, it cracks me up on how people think. Yeah, we'll suck everybody else dry, then we'll just have the oil for ourselves, right? I mean, hello? So, the point is, the money grab is on the Saudis get all this oil money. Well, okay, hello, Chinese has the rarest minerals on earth in their providence, like 90%. They have like 70% of the lithium in the world. They have like 25% of the nickel in the world. They are the main battery manufacturer for electric vehicles. China. Is anybody hearing this? China is laughing at when they have world, organization meetings. They're telling all these the ministers, the prime ministers, their diplomats, whoever, they're telling everybody else, yeah, keep on going green. Keep on going green. We love how you guys are going green. because China is enriching themselves, empowering themselves because everybody going to the green agenda. Yes, China has a control of the world minds that is making all the electric vehicles possible. Yeah. So once again, green agenda is extremely expensive, and the Chinese are loving that they can get premium, expensive pricing for all their minerals and goods. So let me back up here for a second. So yesterday I was at Dunkin' Donuts, and a gentleman watches my channel. He's a really great guy. I like how he comments on my channel. And he reached out to me and said, "You never finished the conversation yesterday morning after you left Dunkin' Donuts." Well, yesterday morning I took the Hellcat Charger wide body up to town to get breakfast. Went to Dunkin' Donuts. I don't eat it every day. I'm not really even a Dunkin' Donuts guy, but we took the ride in the Hellcat Charger. I had to have an excuse to drive the Hellcat Charger wide body, right? And to go by and see when he's sitting there in the rain at the car meet, which there wasn't. So we go into Dunkin' Donuts, and this gentleman about my age, we both walk in. He's got his grandson, and he opens the door for me and my daughter. And I look at him like, no. And he's like, no, go in. So I'm like, all right. So we go in. So then there's a line at the Dunkin' Donuts. So we walk in, we stand back, and he's like, go. I'm like, no, you open the door. You get in front of us. We're not in a hurry. So now we're standing in line. The gentleman says, wow, I can remember I used to come here buy a dozen donuts for $8. And now basically like $16. So I looked at him and said, yeah, well, that's what happens when the government tells you to pay all your people very high wages for minimum, minimum wage labor is now like, what, $15 an hour? And he looked at me, he's like, yeah. I said, well, I don't get it. I look at these type of businesses where you hire people like my daughter here and younger people, where this is a stepping stone of them getting going in life. And typically you don't see me or you standing behind the counter at the Dunkin' Donuts. We've moved on in our life. Once you get to be X amount of age, we just keep on moving on. And so I don't understand why these 18-year-old kids need to make $15 an hour. Don't get me wrong, anybody that's not, I'm not calling out anybody that works at Dunkin' Donuts. What I'm saying is, if you're a business owner, you're always going to have cheap labor for young kids. They're going to be in high school. They're going to be in college. They're going to be just getting their career going. And then if you do have a person that is my age that's been loyal to you, you're going to pay them more. You're going to pay them more money to work there to help them. I mean, that's a no-brainer. If you have 20 people working for you and 15 of them get paid the minimum wage, another 5 get good money because it's a different circumstance, then yeah, right. But yeah, so we just had a really great conversation. And then he's looking at me as we get up close to the line, and he's got a $100 bill in his hand to buy his grandson's going to get the donuts, and he's picking the donuts. And this means said, "How many you getting?" I'm getting 6. He's like, "Well, what about the girlfriend?" I said, "Well, typically girlfriends don't like wives, and typically wives don't like girlfriends." And he looks at me and goes, "Yeah, I know. My story is my ex is going for my pension," which, if you know those stories more than ever, that you get divorced and you work with somebody a long time, you may be able to claim half of their pension. That's a fact. So I don't know. So we just had a great conversation. And the thing is, he wasn't me. He wasn't born here. He didn't look like me. And that's what I talk about all the time. America's about we all love each other. We don't decide who we like and don't like. It doesn't matter what you look like. But the media wants to preach this to us today. So anyways, he ends up, unbeknownst to me, he's talking to the cashier about getting cash or something, or trying to break down bills. So anyways, I'm getting there. They get my donuts. I'm going to pay. And he actually ends up buying me donuts. I said, no. I said, don't you have to do that? And he's like, no, I'm buying you donuts. And if you understand as an individual, that's a compliment. It's a compliment by him saying to me, I like you, you understand, and I appreciate that, and thank you. And he's a successful person. There's no doubt in my mind. That gentleman was a very successful person. So he likes to give and help others. All right, so that's what happened yesterday, because I started talking about that conversation. I think that answered the question for one of my YouTube subscribers, so I hope that helped you out. So anyways, back to green agenda and cars. So this morning when I woke up, I just got to think of myself more than ever. I said, wow, it's incredible on how my passion for what makes me so happy, so excited, it's about the cars and trucks. That's been my whole life. When I was a little itty bitty kid, I loved cars. But yet now this is the problem. More than ever, some about 100 years ago, where was the world? What was going on? And now, today, more than ever, we're getting ready to go through possibly the most horrific economic challenges that we've seen in years because of what? Because it's all revolves around transportation, cars, trucks, motorcycles, and all these things that we love and want and have from the green agenda side is the problem. So we're the problem, and we have to change how we get around with energy. And the green agenda totally believes that a battery is going to save the world, and that you don't eat cow meat is going to save the world. And the list goes on and on and on and on. That more than ever, the green agenda is forcing a lifestyle change for the world, and it's extremely expensive. And that's what I was talking about earlier was, the future. That people think they know the future, but they don't know the future. And 9 times out of 10, I just lost my motor. 9 times out of 10, we all know of our friends that tell you, hey, who plays the lotto? If you think about the lotto, I could use the lotto as a perfect example of how much money is spent and lost by people playing the lotto. That you think you know the numbers, right? You don't. I mean, it's beyond believable how much money is spent in the lotto system in this country and in the world of people feeding the machine because they think they know the answer. Well, you know what the odds are of you knowing the answer? What is it? All right. Well, let's use that scenario that you know how it plays out in the end of Mother Nature. You don't. And don't get me wrong. I have no problem with trying to help this world be cleaner, better. But I think it's extremely dangerous for where we are today. And the financial havoc we're getting ready to witness because everything's related to the automotive industry and the transportation industry. And the green agenda has got a manhandle on that. And there's no fearless leaders to step up and start saying no. We're not in 2035. That's all you hear now is who's hearing the words 2030, 2035, 2030, 2030. This state is going to ban the sale of ICE vehicles. New York just made a statement yesterday. 2035 is the end of anybody buying a new ICE vehicle. Blah, blah, blah. And then the appliances. You can't buy this appliance. Blah, blah, blah. And then, the list goes on and on and on. That we're now being manhandled by the minority, but the majority's not doing anything about it. We're just all sitting back. I'm just as guilty as anybody else. Where is the group that gets together and starts fighting this stuff? And it'll be a huge challenge because you'll have all the scientists sitting there in front of your face going, Mr. Iceman, well, we have statistical data showing that Mother Nature Earth, since the cars were started producing carbon dioxide, blah, 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 blah. And then if you look at that factory over there and the contamination of the water and the blah, blah, you look at the agriculture and blah, 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 and the list goes on and on and on. So you'll have to have an incredible fighting machine, but forget that. Let the majority make the decision. Let the majority say, we don't accept it, and we're not going to continue to listen to your future predictions and blah, blah, blah. Yes, the majority makes the rule, but yet today more than ever, the minority is making the rule. When does the fearless leader show up and start the movement to stop this craziness that's going to bankrupt the world? And it is. If you do your research, you're going to see that the financial situation we're evolving into and going down the path of is because of the green agenda more than ever. So this is what really cracks me up. Now OPEC, which includes Russia, Moscow. Hello, I thought Russia wasn't supposed to be pumping any more oil, everybody. When they invaded Ukraine, oh, by the way, Ukraine's kicking Russia's butt. Who would ever imagine that? I've said that many times. Predict the future. I told you Russia will take over Ukraine. Yeah. How wrong was I about that? Yeah. So here's the thing. OPEC, this is classic. OPEC wants to cut down production of oil because they're not selling enough oil. They have too much oil in the market. Hello. But yet the barrel of oil has been over $100 a barrel for quite a while now. It got into the 70s last week. It's back up to 82. But OPEC's saying, hey, everybody, we're not going to play the game. We're not going to keep on pumping oil in the market. We're going to start shorting the oil in the market because we need more higher priced oil. Hello, what's been going on in the markets of creating inflation, fuel, energy? Hey, OPEC, if you raise the barrel of oil price, people are going to continue to cut back even more. But the green agenda is loving this stuff. The green agenda only can hope and pray. There's $200 barrel oil so that you heat your house at 60 degrees in the winter months if you have oil heat. And for you ICE people, you don't drive your car on the weekend. You just drive back and forth to work, and then you park it when you get home, and you don't take your car on the weekend. And hey, all your boaters, $200 barrel oil, you're going to have an $8 gas marina. You're not going to be, boating around in your boat anymore. I mean, they only hope and pray that the green agenda people are praying that OPEC creates expensive energy. Yes, there's an exact example of how the green agenda activists will be more than happy to see $200 barrel oil. Now, talking about that, what about synthetic fuels? There's huge development now in the carbon, how they hydrocarbon make synthetic fuels that make it net zero. Yes, it's $8 a gallon now, but if you had massive production, then it wouldn't be $8 a gallon, and you'd have a clean burning fuel. The hydrogen fuel cell thing is huge. It can use internal combustion engines to run. It's a net zero. And so there's so many analysts out there saying that, oh my gosh, there's so many other options besides all electric vehicles. And for the record, you just saw, I sold my electric vehicle to get a Hellcat Charger wide body. And is that thing a blast? It sure is. Was the Mustang Mach-E GT? Yeah, it was a fun vehicle. But I didn't buy it for the movement of me fixing the world problems of Mother Nature. All right, so here we are, 30 minutes in. I'm going to kind of keep it at that. That's my message today. The fearless leaders, they're not, I don't see any of them. They're nowhere to be found. Sad beyond sad that the minority in our world is now creating the majority of the problems. Yes, they are in all aspects of life. And sadly, it's more political than ever in our country because it seems like one side of the political equation wants the green agenda like never ever seen, and it's not a big deal to raise the prices and everything, and everything's okay. Meanwhile, CarMax just posted a 50% loss in profits. Their sales are down big time, and the speculation right now is the housing market's just getting ready to tank any moment. Another thing, speculation is our banks are getting ready to go broke because if people start pulling out tons of cash out of banks, the banks don't have any cash flow to run the banks. Hello, but yet a lot of YouTubers are preaching everybody go get cash out of your bank, go get cash out of your bank. The hard times are coming, so it just lights up the problem. Just like if I told you today, there was just a bomb that went off in the Colonial and Traditional Pipeline. That's a major pipeline that comes out of the Gulf of Mexico that feeds all our fuel up in the Northeast. Yeah, the Colonial Pipeline and the Traditional Pipeline. If those are blown up, instantly we now have fuel shortage in this area. If I told you it just happened, then guess what? Every of your brothers be running down the gas station by gas. Well, guess what happens when that happens? All the gas stations run out of gas. Well, the bank's no different. When everybody's being told to go get cash out of the bank, everybody takes all the cash out of the banks don't have any cash. They don't have any money anymore. Hello? Yeah, interesting times ahead. So anyways, gonna leave that conversation as the fearless leader is the theme today because we don't have any leadership in this country right now that's steering us clear of the Titanic ship going down. Yeah, I mean, sincerely, we're all on the Titanic ship right now, and the captain at the helm is not paying attention, and the big iceberg, it's sitting right up here in front of us, and instead of steering away from it, we're steering right into it. Hey, everybody, hope you like my YouTube channel. For anybody who's watching it new, and hit subscribe. I don't beg people to, every YouTuber I watch, it's always these little things up there, subscribe, and whatever. I love making YouTube channel videos. I just enjoy to share my passion, and I don't make a living off of it. I don't need to. I'm very successful without making YouTube channels, which I love that. That isn't what it's about. It's just me sharing the fun and excitement and my passion for ICE vehicles, and obviously is a worldwide problem today that's creating the green agenda to be heck bent on making sure that I don't have an ICE vehicle one day, which I don't like that. So, hey, everybody, Stay tuned for more adventures, more information, and hope everybody has a great, blessed day.